Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. We'll wait 2-3 minutes. Last class with me today. After this, we have to discuss post independence. 3 modules. So, post independence is only 3 modules itself. And last weekend, we gave India independence and discussed the mains questions. Today, we take the story forward, talk about the partition and all. So, we'll wait 2-3 minutes so that people can join in and then we'll start. Good evening, rather good morning. Good morning, good morning. You can, Amita, you can. But you will not get an opportunity to write that now because except for Indian Forest Services, art, ancient medieval art and culture will not, ancient and medieval will not be in mains. Optional, sure. Ethics paper. See, if it is essay, it's better. Ethics don't invoke historical figures such as Ashoka and all. And it would be better to invoke a Western scholar than Ashoka. That's a better way because they won't understand it. That's the issue. We give it 2 more minutes and then we start. Only mains. I have to discuss that. Parshuram, I'll discuss what is the purpose of post independence, this and that. All that I have to discuss with you, don't worry. Once the quorum is here, we'll start. Time period is but specifically 1919 only Kargil war. Ironically, today is, I think, Vijay Divas. Today is Vijay Divas, which is the victory over or the Bangladesh. Vijay. Yes. Yes. Today is the anniversary of Vijay Divas, and we'll be discussing that also. 1971 war. I'll discuss what to do. Okay. So today we start a new journey. We discussed and completed modern India last week, and we reached till 1947. Now, when we talk about post independence is specific to the mains examination, mains only, and that too, 0 to 1 question has been coming in the examination from time to time. So, for example, in 2019 we had no question, 2020 we had one question, 2021 we had no question, 2022 we had one question, 2023 we did not see another question, and now 2024 it can be that one question may come. But this has been modulating like this. Not every year we are getting a question out of this area. So UPSC is moody with regards to post independence generally. You don't have to do it for prelims examination. Anything which you think is prelims is most probably polity question. So any question which you think is for post independence is most probably a polity question, not post independence. Now, when we talk about post independence, we know that the weightage can modulate between 0 to 15 marks or 20 marks totally on the examiner that year that year if they want to ask you a question. But if we go by the basic pattern which has been there or which has emerged previously also, we can see that there are certain topics which get repeated even in that one question. There are total 3 modules. One which deals with the colonial legacy and its partition. Then the most important topic, which is integration of princely states and foreign territories. Then we have linguistic reorganization as the next most important, which is language issue. And then this is the topic out of which mostly questions don't come, but is interesting, which is Indo-Pak wars, the China wars, and one-party dominance. Now, from this area, we are seeing that from time to time, challenges question is coming. Then question is coming from princely states. And with Jammu and Kashmir in the news, you can expect a question from there here. Thereafter, you have here reorganization and specifically linguistic reorganization can be asked. And we have not seen a question from this for the past 5 to 6 years. But as I said, we will discuss here 1947 war, which we will already automatically discuss when we discuss integration of Kashmir. Then 61, 65, sorry, 65, 71, and 1999, last Kargil war, we will discuss. This is a topic which most probably questions are never asked because they will never ask you the story of the Congress and one party domination coalition. But I'll tell you that also. And land reforms is a topic which can be asked but has not been asked till this point. Land reforms being one topic from where you can get questions. The failed land reforms of India. So it's a very straightforward story. You have 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5 topics which can come in the examination as it is. Other than that, we don't expect too much from this area. In a way, we will be covering portions out of economics also, out of polity also, and I'm just going to give you the context for it. For example, this you would have done in polity also, but we will do it in a different perspective itself. So we have 3 modules. and we have today's day to cover it very easily. We can do that. We have started early also. Could have been done easily with by 12 to 8 also, but I took it the 2 hours extra so that we can go at the pace where we can understand easily. So, three modules, mains oriented area, and the strategy for post independence is very simple. Pay attention to this day between 10 to 8 with me. Thereafter, you don't have to do anything about this. Only have to pick it up in in the post prelims period. Once you have given the prelims examination, you have starting your mains preparation. Then you pick up prelims, the post independence. Don't have to do it every day. Don't have to do it every week. Just have to do it once a month maximum. And PPTs are more than enough. PPTs are more than enough. If you want to read, this is also a good book. You can use the PPTs as the base. With that, the 12th class political science NCRT called Politics in India Since Independence. It's a very good book, covers all topics covered, and written in a very comprehensive, straightforward way. So this NCERT plus the PPT should be enough for anything. But if you understand it, you don't even need the PPTs because it's quite logical, quite straightforward. As it is, because it's a mains oriented area, facts for us don't really matters. Facts don't matters, concept matters. Concepts and the story matters, which is basically how what happened, when it happened. How many questions? As I told you, you can expect 0 to 1 question. It has been modulating between the past 5 years. Yes, Javed, yes. Okay. Now, we start module number 1. Anybody has any question? You want to ask me? Module number 1, which is post-independence, immediate challenges. Anybody any question? Yes, no? Okay. Now, the first module deals with India just on the what we call as just after independence. After independence. In a way that we got independence on 15th August 1947. Now we are checking what are the challenges which India has on 16th August. And when we talk about our independence itself, there's a context in which we got independence. There's a context in which we got independence. And this dictates a lot of things. This dictates our foreign policy and mostly how we would react to issues in India. Now, first and foremost point is that when we did get independence, it was not that it was just given to us randomly or it was given to us immediately. No. It was a very long, frustrating battle between Indians and the Britishers. Battle in the sense that it was ideological, it was based on movements, it was literally a struggle. It was literally a struggle. So on 15th August 1947, when we did get independence, we were frustrated, we were tired, and we had gone through too much in the past 200 years. If that was not enough, independence did come with a cost, and the cost of independence was the partition, because on 15th August 1947 there were not one but two countries coming into existence. And this is a major challenge which we will discuss. But the other issue is that we were not even born into a, what we call as, a world which was not divided. We were born into Cold War politics, and therefore it was like when at birth you ask that one day old child to choose between father and mother. The fact is that there is external politics, there is a politics which is happening at the world scale, which in itself is problematic. So what we see is that India has what is called as immediate challenges in front of it. The first would be the fact that we have partition, which we have to discuss. Second is called the economic crisis. And third is called colonial institutions. Meaning that as a nation, we faced three challenges automatically. And these immediate challenges, imagine between 1947 to 1949, the Constituent Assembly is writing the Constitution with these challenges there. Now, let's discuss the first challenge, which is the partition. Can we? Do you understand the context of this discussion? Do we understand the context of this discussion? Okay. Now, when we talk about partition, partition was based on the 3rd June 1947 Mountbatten Plan. But the more you scratch the surface, the problems become bigger and bigger. Why? Because if I go by the partition concept itself, we know that partition was communalism between 1906 to 1936. Muslim League was nothing. It is only between 1936 to 1946 that it became inevitable that the partition would happen. Cabinet mission, after looking at this partition, or what we call as Pakistan map, this Pakistan map was the one which was literally rejected by cabinet mission, and Pakistan was not even allowed under the cabinet mission plan itself. It is only Mountbatten who developed this concept in 3rd June that it became clear that partition would happen for sure. But between 1906 and 1936, partition was avoidable if only the INC would have understood it, or communalism or a Muslim League would have not got the help of Lithgow between 1936 to 1946. These 10 years makes the partition inevitable. A discussion we have already in the Modern India course, and we've done that last week itself, that the inevitability of partition was not there maybe in 1936, but by 1945-44 it became inevitable that partition will happen for sure. Now, as I told you, Mountbatten Plan had a lot of interesting provisions, and the concept was that people will be asked, wherein plebiscite plebiscite, and rather the word he used is referendum, or voting, was inbuilt into Mountbatten plan. But when Mountbatten actually went for the partition, Mountbatten ignored the will of the people, or ignored the will of the people. No referendum or plebiscite was taken. And the logic of partition was as follows: that based on the census data, West Punjab, there were 11 million Muslims out of the 15 million population. And in East Bengal, which is Pakistan and Bangladesh, 27 million out of 39 million. So he called a jurist, Sir Cyril Radcliffe. And Radcliffe had no idea what he was doing. And what he will do is that he will just sit in Delhi and draw certain lines. And that line is called the Radcliffe line. And the idea was that this data was also outdated. It was the census data of 1941, and we were doing it in 1947. 6 years into the data, we were just randomly trusting this data with regards to what was the population. And the biggest issue was that when it came to the Radcliffe Award or Radcliffe line, he had no idea about India. Radcliffe had never come to India before this. Second, the maps and the census, everything he was using was out of date, which is that it was mostly old data which he was using. No real idea was there. So the data itself was old. Thereafter, if there was any dispute, 6 weeks was given to decide. And the two areas from which the people had to come, either Punjab or the what we call as Bengal sector, it used to take at least 5 to 6 days to come only. And he had given 6 weeks. And no grassroots reality was known or taken into consideration when Radcliffe was drawing this line. And for the same reason, when these two lines will be drawn, it will be a literal arbitrary concept itself. It's an arbitrary line which will be drawn between these two nations with no real understanding of the ground realities of either India or Pakistan. And these divisions into East and West Pakistan, which is the Radcliffe line itself, and West Pakistan, Punjab will be the province which will be bifurcated vis-a-vis India. This is the Punjab we are talking about. Half of it will go into Pakistan. And Bengal, which was again a very big province, will be bifurcated into two. So why was Radcliffe chosen? Because Mountbatten really did not care. No judge was ready to come to India to do anything. So the point was that only Radcliffe was ready to come to India. So Sir Cyril Radcliffe had no expertise, had never done any form of boundary commissions before this. He's not a specialist, he's nothing. He's just a random judge who's been brought from England. Now the problem of such type of lines is, tell me one thing. Here and here, is the population 100% Muslim and Hindu on both sides? Here 100%, here 100%. And the answer to that question is no. Now the problem is that on 15th August 1947, Now people woke up to in the wrong nation itself. There is a mass exodus of people on this line and on this line in what is called the partition holocaust. Wherein now Muslims and Hindus on the wrong side started to migrate. Because imagine you sleep today and tomorrow I tell you that you're in the wrong nation. You are in the nation which does not believe in you. And now Muslims are evading death and destruction from the Indian side. And Hindus are awaiting death and destruction if they don't cross. Armed bands of fanatical Hindus and Sikhs on India's side and Muslims on the other side. If you don't cross, you die. If you remain, you die. And you can't take anything with you. Movable, immovable property, everything left as it is in these homes. And people will now just take the railway track and start to walk. And in this period, we find images which are extremely disturbing, wherein people trying to reach Delhi as quickly as possible from that side. On the other way, the people trying to reach Lahore as quickly as possible. Both Muslims who had not voted for the partition in India and the Hindus and the Sikhs who had not voted for the partition in Pakistan were now on the wrong side of the border. There was no warning, no support, no heads up given to the people. For one nation on 15th August, it was a day to rejoice. It was days to enjoy. It was independence. And for two parts of the nation, East and West, it was a day of horror. Why people feared it? Were Muslim League killing people in Pakistan or something else like that? Sure. People were dying on the Pakistan side who were Hindus and Sikhs. It's not the Muslim League. It's about the Muslims who were communalistically charged. And the Muslims in India were getting attacked by Sikhs and Hindus. So the violence is mutual. It's not just one side, it is both sides of the border. 60 lakh people were displaced within one day, and it is believed that close to 10 to 15 lakh people died in this process. What were the Jains and Parsis? Parsis are not there. Sindhi Hindus are there. Jains and Parsis, why will be? If you are non-Muslim and Muslim, that is the main identity. The basic point is we have train after train after train coming from Pakistan, from Lahore to Delhi and Delhi to Lahore, where sometimes the train used to start with people in it, and by the time it used to reach its destination, the train used to be fully dead, or the people were killed in the train itself. The level of violence which was seen at this point of time was extremely bad, and the speed at which the speed the speed at which partition was done was very problematic, and the way it was done was also very problematic. People were just asked to cross borders one random day, and more than that, most of the people are trying to come till Delhi because they don't know where the line actually is. because Radcliffe and the whole ratification of this line and the whole maps will be drawn later. Just that people on one side of Punjab knew that they were in the wrong nation, and on the other side they knew that they were in the wrong nation in that sense. Muslims had to cross this way, Hindus had to cross this way, and women, family of 15, 16 used to leave, only 3 used to reach. And that was only the first problem. The first problem was to cross the border. If you do cross the border, the first issue is solved. Thereafter, the second issue comes, which is when you come to Delhi, you now live in makeshift places. This is the Humayun's tomb, which has been created into and converted into a makeshift rehabilitation center. We see images such as this, wherein people are crowding into trains trying to reach India somehow. And we have slums, we have rehabilitation camps set up in Maidans in and around Delhi. The population of Delhi went from 3 lakh to 8 lakhs within 3 months. And water, sanitation were one of the biggest issues in these rehabilitation camps. And now, if you had survived the transfer, now you had no other option but to survive the winters of Delhi, the summers of Delhi, and the dengue, malaria, and the cholera and the dysentery of Delhi itself. So rioting is happening on both sides of the border. People are trying to reach Delhi and Lahore if they're able to survive. Then there is a whole process of coming back to your own feet, fighting the odds, and the Punjabi and the Muslim community and the Bengali community. These were the three most affected religions and communities. The Sikhs of Punjab, the Bengalis, and the Muslims who had to cross the other way around. Why did rioting continue even after the demand of partition was fulfilled? Because the demand of partition was not from the people but from Muslim League. The people had never chosen that. It was a political decision. And people were waiting that somehow the two nations were drawn. That's a very innocent question, that if they got what they wanted, Muslim League got what it wanted, not the people. And therefore, it is very, very clear that the fanatical, or what we call as fundamentalists on both sides, wanted to make sure that there was fear. Communism and rioting was engineered. And the fact of the matter is, Muslim League leaders wanted partition. And they did not get affected because they were sitting in Lahore. Nehru and Patel had to manage this. And imagine the fact is that the day we get partition, the day we get independence, 15th August 1947, there is already an administrative, humanitarian, crisis, which is called partition. We will see that the partition will affect close to 15 million people who will hastily try to cross the border. Armed bands of Sikhs and Hindus and Muslims roamed in the countryside of Punjab. 1.8 lakh official data killed, 60,000 in the west, 1,20,000 in the east. And between August and October of 1947, 3,25,000 refugees were migrating towards Delhi. Now, this will only lead to destitution, which is stress, poverty, and all these people came with nothing in their hands. And when India had nothing in its treasury, which we will discuss, with no proper planning, India has to now make sure that the horrors of the partition and what these people had gone through now needs to be mitigated. And therefore, in Delhi, Lajpat Nagar, Rajendra Nagar, Punjabi Bagh, Nizamuddin East, Kingsway Camp, these are areas which developed in A lot of these Pakistani refugees were also taken to Punjab and Himachal Pradesh. Some of them, the Sindhi Hindus, were taken to MP, Gujarat, Rajasthan. There's a whole city which came up in Maharashtra called Ulhasnagar, which was developed for the Sindhi Hindus who are coming. West Bengal, Assam, Tripura, and a lot of the Andaman Nicobar Islands were now inhabited by Bengali Hindus. The fact of the matter, the fact of the matter is that the level of destruction and death was not known to everybody. If you are not from that community, you have no idea how it felt or what it felt generally. If you are from the community of either the Sikhs or the Sindhis or the Hindus which came from Multan, from Peshawar, from the Lahore sector, you would have an idea how or what it meant to cross the border. And your grandparents or great grandparents would know what horrors they had to see to cross the border itself. So the independence came at a price, and that price is partition. The price is partition. Tina is telling us that she has her antecedents from Peshawar, that she came from Peshawar, or her grandparents or ancestors came from Peshawar. And if she has the story, she would know that her grandparents and her parents generally would know the level of death and destruction they would have seen. Some of the siblings may have died. They would have left a lot of property in Peshawar, in Multan. And the fact of the matter is, to come empty handed in Delhi, it is hats off to these communities that they fought, they came, then they were ready to get employment and stand on their feet. In that sense, it's a hats off to the Sindhi, Sikh, and Hindu community of Pakistan that with no money in their hand, zero, nothing at all, they became or they are what they are today. And therein lies the resilience of the Indians. But the fact of the matter remains is the partition was a major challenge between 1947 to 1949. Two areas in India were burning properly. One, the east, and the west. Both borders were burning. On these two sides, India was burning and very major humanitarian crisis. And therefore, Delhi, the whole western coast itself, and Andaman and Nicobar Islands, even the northeast, they absorbed these refugees. The fact of the matter remains is that you don't know the cost of the partition. You don't know the cost of independence. And therefore, the first challenge India faced was straightforward partition and the humanitarian crisis with it. And imagine that the Constituent Assembly was writing all of what they wrote whilst all of this is happening. They were seeing the realities of partition, they were seeing the realities of what was happening generally. And therefore, it should be very, very clear. It should be very, very clear that the legacy of the partition remains with us. Unfortunately, till today, we have not forgotten how to get divided. We still remember how to get divided on the lines of religion. Further, when it came to Sikh and Muslim experience of the independence, they Sikh or the Hindu experience of the people coming from Pakistan, they will not ever share this pain with you, but they went through a lot of pain. And if that is not enough, what we got in a gift was a neighbor who has nothing else to do but to think about how to destroy India. And till today in India, we raise these questions: whose nation is this? Having of no idea or not known anything about the partition, its pain, and how the British still succeed in dividing us till today along communistic lines. Under vote bank politics, we still create these questions, and in these questions, we get divided again. So, partition is something which, in a way, is a very problematic aspect of our independence. And this challenge emerges automatically as soon as independence comes through. Now, if that was one challenge, anybody has any issue with the partition? No. Now, if that was one issue, there was one more issue, and that is called the economic crisis. If you remember, our whole economy, through land revenue settlements, through commercialization, through deindustrialization, had been destroyed. And our economy was just money lenders and zamindars in the agricultural zone. And what did reign properly was either famines or poverty. To give you an idea that between 1914 to 1946, only 2% of national income was ever saved. Our treasuries were empty. We had no money. And whilst we have the partition, with partition came a humanitarian crisis. And that humanitarian crisis, we had to manage with no national income. Imagine the challenge which Patel and Nehru faced vis-a-vis having to rehabilitate people with no money itself. The economic backwardness of the nation, which was now having either 0.1% growth rate year on year, how would that be managed? Nobody knew. And if this is not enough, at the third challenge, which is institutions. Institutions which were left in 1947 were not geared for welfare but for exploitation. Be it the ICS, be it the police, be it the education system, be it the judiciary. Every institution was colonial. In the sense that we have the partition, humanitarian crisis, then economic crisis, underdeveloped, economically exploited economy, and with that you also have institutions which are not geared to manage people but exploit people. If you look at this 1, 2, 3, these are the first 3 immediate challenges which we see. Are we clear? Because if it is clear, we take a breather, then we talk about the most important, the fourth challenge, and that is the biggest challenge, then the longest challenge, which is princely states and integration. Are we clear about this? That's what we got in return from Britishers, yes. Clear? So I leave you on this slide. Think about it. When we come back, long discussion, princely states, and we have to discuss Travancore, Jodhpur, Bhopal, Junagadh, Hyderabad, and Jammu and Kashmir as case studies, wherein we will discuss how princely state. First, I'll discuss the concept of paramountcy, and then, as I told you, paramountcy, princely states, and then we'll talk about the concept of how the fourth biggest challenge was national integrity and princely states. That we will discuss. That's a standard question which comes from time to time. Right? Okay. So, no issues. We come back at 11:05 and we take the story forward. Welcome back. Okay, sorry for the delay. I'm actually delayed by 20 minutes. Two very important things I had to do, which had to be done today only. I'm really sorry for that. So we are back now. We have to start consolidation of a nation. Two things: one, the PTS thing, and the other, the questions which you have to be sent. I hope you know on 24th December PTS starts. First PTS. Yes? Yeah, so just had to sign off on those questions. I'm extremely sorry for that. Art and culture is going. No, PTS first test is full course. The history and polity is the paper. So I saw the questions. I was just signing off on them. Good questions that ways. 24th December PTS. Then we'll have a discussion on the. We'll have a Wednesday discussion which is called. I'll discuss the questions with you. Half prepared, fully prepared, 25% prepared. Do. You have not missed anything. You have not missed anything. It took time in signing off on the questions itself. So half prepared, 1% prepared, 5% prepared, 0% preparation. Give the exam. First three are full course. You know why we give full course first? We always give first full course because by that you will know how much water you are. बोलते हैं जिस कितना पानी में हो आप. Because that will help you in assessing what to work on and what not to work on. The very important point you need to understand, wherein the idea is give the full course. If you are not prepared, still give it. And I expect everybody to do it. Which is the fact that I saw the questions. Some of the questions will be easily able to manage. Some of the questions will make you think. And that is what took time. And I'm sorry about that. I told you 11:05, 11:10. I came by 30. So, but that is also done. Written. It can be done, Parshuram. I think the paper can be given both in online, offline. I'll tell you the time. 1 second. If you go to our YouTube page, you will automatically find it. 1 second. For you, it is already included in the course. 1 second. 24th December, you have to register, and you'll get the timing itself. 30 tests, live paper discussion, detailed explanation. Oh yeah, it is offline, online both. Offline and online both. Do you want me to push you the 1 second? Let me push you the link. Though you don't have to register, at least you can figure it out yourself. 1 second. Remember, you as students have already paid for this. You don't have to pay again for this, so don't fall into that trap. But you just have to make sure that you are able to 1 second by Josias and community register. Yes. 1 second. I'll copy and paste the link for you. Register furthermore. Yeah. Yes, Tina has also pushed it. I'll make it public. So you just go and figure this out. Online, offline, if you want to get an offline feel in Bangalore, Delhi, Hyderabad, it can be done also. So just copy and paste it. You already are registered with us, in the sense you're already a student. You just have to give it. So check out your dashboard. You'll be able to figure it out. Are you all clear about this 24th? Yes? I hope everybody is going to give it. Whatever your preparation, whatever your level, good in a way, this discussion we are having, whatever your level of preparation, do not miss it. Do not miss it. It will be helpful for you generally. Okay. And don't get demoralized. One very important thing. Do not get demoralized if you are not able to get the questions. the PTS or generally mocks are made harder than what the level is. And the first three mocks, I don't want you to take it as an indication of your preparation, rather as a way of just creating a certain platform that okay, this is the topic I can manage. Ancient is good, but medieval needs work. Polity I can do, center state I can do, parliament, but I am not able to do, for example, emergency. This way you get to know about certain areas which are good and bad. And this is very, very important. Use the first three tests to assess your preparation and then accordingly work on it. By the time sectional tests will come, you should be in a way revising those sections. You get the purpose of this discussion? Yes? Okay. Perfect. Now we have covered the first major chunk, which is called the three immediate challenges which we faced, which is partition, economic issues, and institutions which were colonial. Now, the biggest challenge, this will be only polity history. Yes, the first test is polity history. Second is test is geography and economics, and third test is I think and current affairs with both. You can find the whole schedule in that place. You will find the exact syllabus which is also going to come. You would have received an email also about it. Now, the third or the second major chunk is called integration of princely states. And now we have to understand what does this basically mean. Now, if you remember, how many provinces were there in British India? How many provinces were there in British India? Last Government of India Act 1935. How many provinces? I'm not asking you princely states, provinces under the British. 11. Total number was 11. 11 means you had Sindh, Northwestern Frontier Province, Punjab, Bombay, Madras, United Provinces, Central Provinces, thereafter Bihar, Bengal, Odisha, and Assam. These are the 11. PTS held on 24th, Sunday only. Every Sunday to Sunday, online, offline. Now, if I show you the map of India at that point of time, whatever you see in yellow are the basic provinces. And ironically, the yellow part is what the British used to control. The blue part which you see, all of this, which is close to 1/3 of India's land area, is basically princely states. Now these areas are governed in a different way altogether, and their governance creates an issue for Sardar Patel automatically. 565 small and big princely states were there, and that ways it's a quite a big chunk and quite a big area. Now if I go with what we understand, this is only 2/3 of India. There are 565 princely states which for a very categorical reason, for a very, very categorical reason, they do not come under the governor general, of India and Viceroy. India and Viceroy. Rather, they come under the crown itself, directly under crown. Now, when India Independence Act or Indian Independence Act is passed in 1947, 18th July, it only applies to the 11 provinces plus Chief Commissioner's area. And these 565 princely states are in a way free, in the sense they are ruled by a something called paramountcy, and we have to now understand what is paramountcy. Now you see, till 1857 the British followed a very straightforward process: direct or indirect conquest. Direct and indirect conquest means that either you used wars or they used subsidiary alliance or they used doctrine of lapse. This is how they used to manage the local rulers. Local rulers were managed like this. However, when 1857 revolt happens, what was one of the clauses of Victoria's proclamation? What was in Queen's proclamation? There was a very interesting clause or a very important line she said. In Queen proclamation, what did she say? What did she say? Sabir, tell me, what did she say? Very good. No more annexation. No more annexation. Wherein she said, we will not conquer. If we will not conquer, then what will we do? Because there are still 560 plus bodies or units which are there. Now, herein in 1858, they developed the concept of paramountcy. Paramountcy is a very interesting thing. Wherein paramountcy is based on the idea that the British will not annex, but just integrate the princely states as a subordinate power. As a subordinate power. And what will happen is that the British crown becomes the ultimate power. They have a resident, British resident, and the princely state ruler basically reports to the British crown straightforward. And you can think of it like modified dominion concept. That the UK, the Queen, these areas are considered dominions of UK or United Kingdom, and they have internal freedom, but when it comes to defense, communication, or law and order, the British resident would take a call on the behalf of the British Crown. Basically, it's a very neat compromise which they've developed. It's a very neat compromise which they developed, wherein the dominion status is modified a little bit. They're not sovereigns, but they accept the suzerainty of the crown. You've done ancient medieval art and culture with me? Have you done ancient medieval art and culture? Some of you? No. So if I use the word feudatory, do you understand it? Feudatory? When I say feudatory? No. So the people who don't understand it, the people who understand it. There are people who understand it. This is basically feudatory politics. For the people who don't understand it, feudatory politics means that you have one central power and then you have decentralized local powers. And the central power just holds on to the decentralized local powers. So do we understand what is paramountcy? Do we understand what is paramountcy? The origin of it and how it operates. The origin of it and how it operates. Do we understand? Yes or no? Do we understand the concept of paramountcy? Paramountcy is based on suzerainty. Yes. Yes. Okay. Now, between 1858 till 18th July 1947, the paramount power is who? The paramount power is very good. Is the crown. However, after that, two dominions are created. One, which is Pakistan, and the other one, which is India. Now, the crown gives up its power. So, in a way, paramountcy collapses or dissolves. And when paramountcy dissolves, the princely state under Mountbatten Plan had three options. Part of Pakistan, part of India, or remain independent. Now, looking at their location, does it make any sense that these 565 princely states, if they remain independent, what will happen? Or if they don't enter into a agreement with India, what will happen? What will happen is fragmentation, and India's national unity and security would now be under question. That how can India survive with 1/3 of its land area, with independent countries, and even some parts of British India were not even connected properly. So when on 18th July this decision was taken, this 18th July decision was taken. Now in the interim government, Sardar Patel, the Iron Man of India, will be given a new department called the States Department, and he'll be given one IAS officer, VP Menon. VP Menon and Sardar Patel will be given the task to somehow make sense of these 565 states. While Nehru was going to manage the international situation, which was Cold War politics, and the answer was NAM, Sardar Patel was given the much harder task to make sure that out of these 565, every princely state which was within India would become part of British India, then in turn India. And this is what is called as integration of princely states in India. So on 5th July, when this is basically passed, and 18th July it is ratified, the act said that it will in turn lead to the creation of two new dominions, and with the lapse of paramountcy, they would have the option to remain separate. And with the paramountcy being used after the 1857 revolt, and with every 1 in 4 Indians being under princely rule, it was important that these princely states were managed. And if they are not integrated, there is no India, and what India you think of today will also not exist. And therefore, it is very, very clear that Patel has a very important and big task in front of him. And ironically, it will be Travancore which will be the first state to say that we want to remain independent. And there will be a pattern which will emerge, which is that when Travancore became independent, the person, Thirunal, who was the king, he did not used to rule, but C.P. Ramaswamy Iyer was the one who used to rule in the name of Thirunal. As soon as he will say that I want to remain independent, the people of that state are going to, the people of that princely state are going to actually rebel. And Chitra Thirunal, who was the real ruler, was basically under the influence of C.P. Ramaswamy Iyer. As soon as he will say that he wants to be independent, the people will basically make C.P. Ramaswamy Iyer flee Travancore, and then the Maharaja of Travancore will say, I am ready to sign the instrument of accession. Instrument of accession. This is basically the instrument which you sign to become part of India, Pakistan in that sense. Now, Travancore was the first one, but again, what happened was people's action, public action, and people's will. But it was not that there were not other states which were talking about this. Bhopal, Hyderabad, a lot of these states, princely states, were saying that we want to remain independent now. And the problem is that, ironically, the ruler wanted to be independent, but people wanted to be part of India. This is the contradiction which comes up. Instrument of merger is called instrument of accession. Instrument of accession is basically the name for instrument of merger. Simple point is that there will be multiple issues which will emerge. For example, Bhopal. The leader is Hamidullah Khan. Now, Bhopal is in the heart of India. He said with the majority Hindu population, he said that I want to be part of Pakistan. Imagine Bhopal today saying that I want to be part of Pakistan. Here again, the people will revolt when Hamidullah Khan will say, I want to be part of Pakistan. And Patel will then make him sign the instrument of accession when the people will basically ask him to flee. So the point is, you see, these rulers are losing their mind over not even understanding that a state like Bhopal cannot even become a part of Pakistan, but he's saying, I will be part of Pakistan. And Jinnah used to give unreasonable things to them. I will give you 40 crore rupees, I will give you this, that. He had no money, he had no power. But it's just about seducing the person to come to become part of Pakistan. So Travancore and Bhopal showed us that the people were extremely, very eager to become part of democratic India. So what I've established till this point is the fact that India was a jigsaw puzzle of 565 states. It's a jigsaw puzzle, 565 states. People are eager. People are eager, but the princely state rulers have their own opinion. Now, if you understand this situation, I will tell you what Sardar Patel was now going to turn out as a strategy. Do we understand the issue? Do we understand the issue? What is the challenge in front of Sardar Patel? The genesis of that issue and the issue generally. We understand it? Yes? We'll talk about Hyderabad, we'll talk about these things. Wait one second. Okay. We understand it. Okay. Now, there were three considerations in front of Patel. First, second, third. The first consideration is that the people of princely states are eager to be part of democratic India. Second, the state or government of India was ready to be flexible to integrate these states. And the third, which is the most interesting, with partition and two sides of India burning, national security and national interest will prevail and is important. And is important. So one thing is very clear. Patel is ready to be flexible, but national security and national interest comes first. And therefore, Patel did two things. First, what he did was that he called every ruler who was within India. Within India, princely states. He called. And now Patel, you see how he will actually do a very interesting drama and very interesting strategy he will come up with. He will say to all these rulers that you ruler, you have remained independent. He basically changed the idea of paramountcy into something very interesting. He had more modified paramountcy. He said that you ruler, I will give you internal freedom. You do what you want to do. I will also give you a privy purse. I will give you money. Enjoy what you want to do. You, whatever you wanted to do, you want to sit on your throne, you sit on your throne, Singhasan pe baitho, whatever you want to do, you do. But to the government of India, give defense, communication, law and order. These three things you give to the government of India. And I'm ready to give you some money to enjoy your life. And we are ready to be flexible. We are ready to be flexible. Basically, he is offering them another type of paramountcy, but now with the government of India as the paramount power. But before he used to cut the call, Patel used to say that today is 18th July, 1947. This offer is only till 15th August 1947. Defense would mean foreign affairs also. Foreign affairs. Defense means foreign affairs automatically. He said that this offer only remains till 15th August. And I have intelligence or I have information that the people of your state are very eager, and they may revolt against you. Now, when they revolt against you on 15th August 1947, and when you come on 16th to me, I will not give you this offer. So this is a limited period offer which you have only between 18th July and 15th August. If you are ready to sign the instrument of accession, then I am ready to give you internal freedom, a privy purse also. Defense, foreign affairs, communication, law and order remains with us. Everything else you have, for you, nothing changes really. The fact is the paramount power, India is there now. Previously, it was the British Crown. So basically, he's giving an offer. He's giving an offer plus a threat. The offer is this. The threat is this, that people are going to revolt against you. And when they will revolt against you, then please do not come to me and tell me that I want this offer. So Patel is playing a very interesting game here, where he's just modifying the concept of paramountcy to make it applicable on the princely states before 15th August. Do we understand Patel's strategy? Yes. Now the second act which he does is basically related to Mountbatten. Mountbatten was going to have on 27th or 25th, 25th. On 25th July, 1947, he was going to have a meeting in what is called as the Chambers of Princes. This offer was given to princely states, yes. Chamber of Princes. This was basically all the princely state rulers meeting the viceroy. Yes, Priya, we started at 10. You should have seen the dashboard. We started at 10. No issues. You can watch the recorded session for the 10 to 12 session. Now, Patel said to Mountbatten, and in this, it is seen as one of the biggest acts which Mountbatten did. Patel said to Mountbatten that you are going to meet the Chamber of Princes, you are going to meet the princely states on 25th. It is my humblest request to you to say that tell them on that day that they don't have three options, but they have two options, which is either become part of Pakistan or become part of India. Tell the princely states that they do not have the option to remain independent with two big countries like this in, in either the south, the north, or east or west. And Mountbatten basically understood this concept that princely states should be convinced that they only have two options, which is Pakistan or India. The ones which are in Pakistan should become part of Pakistan. The ones which are in India should become part of India. And Mountbatten, in this princely state Chamber of Princes meeting, does the same thing on convincing by Patel. And by 1st August 1947, only 4 states remained as a problem. One is Jodhpur, Junagadh, Kashmir, Jammu and Kashmir, and Hyderabad. Other than that, Mountbatten was able to convince to every other ruler either become part of India or become part of Pakistan. Makes no sense. So what I've done till this point is we've tried to understand three things. What is paramountcy? Is this clear to everybody? What is paramountcy? Do we understand what is paramountcy? Yes. Then I told you how princely states operate within the paramountcy. Is this clear? Yes. Then we discussed 565 on eve of independence. If on eve of independence we have 565, by 1st August 1947, 4 remained. Travancore and Bhopal we already saw, which is people's action. And we also saw two things. First, Patel's strategy and Mountbatten's speech. These two basically will bring us to this point, and I want to now discuss this, which is that Patel, the Deputy Prime Minister, being given a historic role to integrate these people, these princely states into India with VP Menon as his secretary. And there were three considerations in front of the government. One, princely state people wanted to be part of the Indian Union. Second, we were ready to be flexible and give a little bit of autonomy. Third, with partition and issues of territory, we were very, very clear that our own interests reign supreme. And Patel's first step was to make the princely states within India to accede by giving them every form of autonomy except for in foreign relations, defense, and communication. And an implied threat was given that after 15th August, people are impatient, and this offer and this help will only be given if they are signing the instrument of accession. Patel will also convince Mountbatten to bat for India in the Chamber of Princes 25th July speech. And by the 1st August period, except for 3 plus Jodhpur, all of them had already signed the instrument of accession. And therein comes our case study for Jodhpur, Junagadh, Kashmir, and what we call as Hyderabad. Are we clear? Are we clear about all of this? Yes? Yes? Okay. Now, Now let's discuss Jodhpur. Mountbatten speech was important because he was able to convince the princes that they could not survive in landlocked nations within India or Pakistan. Vivek, you joined very late. You joined after Paramountcy, so you can watch the video again. I know your joining time very well. You joined around 1.5 hours late, so don't worry about that. So you can watch the video again. Okay, let's talk about Jodhpur. Jodhpur was a very interesting case, and it will show you the commitment of people such as VP Menon in with regards to what they wanted to do. Jodhpur is in which state? Jodhpur is in which state? Rajasthan. So if Jodhpur becomes part of Pakistan, the border moves inwards or outwards? It moves inward. Basically, Rajasthan, it would move inward and go like this. It would be moving inwards. So for the national security of India, Jodhpur is an important state. Jodhpur is an important state. Now it is a Hindu ruler, Hindu population, and the Hindu ruler became somehow so engrossed with Jinha that Jodhpur said it wanted to be part of Pakistan. The ruler's father was always committed towards India, but he got seduced by Jinha's fake promises. 40 crore, 50 crore rupees he will give 50 seats for 1,000 population. He basically was promised anything and everything just to make sure that Jodhpur becomes part of Pakistan. Now, VP Menon knew that it is a very dangerous thing that Jodhpur, or Patel knew that Jodhpur becoming part of Pakistan would be a setback for India. So VP Menon requested Mountbatten to call this ruler to the Rashtrapati Bhavan, or what it was called was Viceroy's Palace. And the idea was very simple. That VP Menon wanted to meet this ruler. And there was a plan which he had in mind. Now the ruler met Mountbatten coming from Jodhpur, and Mountbatten first played a card with Jodhpur ruler saying that I knew your father, he would not have liked the decision you are taking, which is to be part of Pakistan. But there's VP Menon in the conference hall. You can meet VP Menon. He has certain things to tell you. Now, VP Menon sat with the Jodhpur ruler, young man, and now the Jodhpur ruler started to make demands. I want this much money. VP Menon said no. Then he said, I want 10 seats in the parliament. He said, you don't have a population of more than 50,000 and you want 10 seats in the parliament. No. He said, I want this. No. I want that. No. Straightforward, VP Menon said no to everything. And he was basically making that ruler angry. Now that ruler, after listening to everything no, became so frustrated that he took out a gun which he had brought with him, and he now pointed it towards VP Menon, saying that if you had to say no to everything, why did you call me? As soon as he takes out the gun and points it towards VP Menon, now Mountbatten comes in and intervenes and says, what are you doing? You are trying to shoot a secretary and IS officer. And now VP Menon says that enough of your drama. Now you have two options. Under the Indian Penal Code, IPC, you have pointed a gun towards an IS officer, an ICS officer, which is in itself an offense. You have threatened an administrative personality. Either you sign the instrument of accession or be ready to be arrested right now and taken to the jail in Delhi. And obviously, Jodhpur ruler had no other option but to sign the instrument of accession. This is the level of commitment people like VP Menon had. They were ready to get shot, and it's a very well documented story. Ready to get shot for the Jodhpur ruler or Jodhpur to become part of India itself. We don't value our independence. We don't value our process of getting independent. And we don't value how India became what it is today. But this national hero, VP Menon, was ready to be shot by a ruler just because he wanted to make sure that he falls into a trap so that he could sign the instrument of accession. And therefore, Jodhpur is one example where things became problematic. You can't write it in the examination. You will just write, was not ready to sign the instrument of accession. After tremendous pressure created by Patel, he will sign it. But this tremendous pressure, the story is quite interesting behind it. The story being that they had to bring him to Delhi to do knowing that he would basically do this mistake of becoming very, very angry, and in turn leading to what we call as the concept of Jodhpur entering India. Are we clear about Jodhpur? Are we clear about Jodhpur? Okay. Now comes the story of Junagadh. We do Junagadh, Hyderabad, Kashmir, take the lunch break, come back, do Pondicherry and Goa, and then move towards the second module. Now, when we talk about Junagadh, the problem of Junagadh is more serious than Jodhpur. Junagadh here has such a location that it overlooks the whole west coast. It overlooks the whole west coast. And if Junagadh becomes part of Pakistan or remains independent, it would be a serious threat to Indian security and national security generally. And therefore, when it came to Junagadh, the ruler again got very, very, very close to Jinnah, and he was ready to become part of Pakistan. The ruler, his name Nawab Mahabat Khan, even before 15th August came, he was ready to accede to Pakistan. Irony being, had an overwhelming Hindu population which wanted to be part of India. Mahabat Khan's Diwan was the father of Zulfikar Ali Bhutto, Shah Nawaz Bhutto. And what the story was that as soon as the people of Junagadh get to know that that Junagadh king Mahabat Khan wanted to be part of Pakistan, there will be a people's movement. And you can see everywhere people took control. There will be people's movement. This is the victory of Gandhi. There will be a people's movement in Junagadh, and Mahabat Khan would have to flee to Pakistan. And a person called Samal Das Gandhi is going to then take control of Junagadh. But the situation in Junagadh between 1947 and late 1947, which is August and September and December, became very, very explosive with too much lawlessness. And the Diwan, Shah Nawaz Bhutto, will then call Patel and say that the situation has gone out of hand. With the situation gone out of hand, I request you that you please manage the law and order situation. And when law and order situation will be managed, we'll be happy to hold a plebiscite And I am happy for the people of Junagadh to decide if they want to be part of Pakistan, India or not. And the Indian army will then enter Junagadh, manage the situation. And in 1948, the plebiscite will be taken. And 99% of the population, close to 97 to 99%, will say they want to be part of India. And Shahnawaz Bhutto will transfer the power to Patel, and he will also go to Pakistan behind Mahabat Khan, and then be the father of Zulfikar Ali Bhutto and the grandfather of Benazir Bhutto. The fact of the matter was, Junagadh is also like Travancore and Bhopal, the story of people taking control, wherein the people became very, very angry with Mahabat Khan, and they then formed the Arze Hukumat under Samal Das Gandhi. Plebiscite will be taken after Shahnawaz Bhutto will ask India to intervene. After the Indian troops will march into the state, plebiscite will be taken, and by February of 1948, Junagadh will become part of India. Plebiscite, referendum, same thing, which is voting. A question is answered: do you want to be part of India? Yes or no? Now, if you will go with the Qatari type newspapers or the Pakistan based or Qatar type, Al Jazeera type newspapers and news, they argue that India first used army to convince the people and subdue the people, and then they held the plebiscite. Now you tell me, does that argument actually really stand? That India used force to enter Junagadh and then they held a plebiscite? And the answer to that question is a big no. Shahnawaz Bhutto, not maybe. It's not maybe, it's no. Shahnawaz Bhutto asked the Indian army to enter via Patel, and then once law and order situation was fine, then plebiscite was taken. Even before the plebiscite, people's movement had already said that they want to be part of India. So if you will argue that Junagadh is an example of what we today call as force and plebiscite, then it is wrong. Priya, if you've learned this, it is wrong. Indian army did enter, but it only entered on the request of Shahnawaz Bhutto, the Diwan of Junagadh, and it was to manage a situation which had become really out of hand. He was not able to manage. And then plebiscite was taken for something which was already decided, which was Samal Das Gandhi, Arze Hukumat was talking about becoming part of India. So please don't fall into the trap of these people, these type of news agencies which try to demean Indian form of struggle and integration of princely state. Because when it comes to Junagadh, Hyderabad and Jammu and Kashmir, there's a lot of misinformation. So are we clear about Junagadh? What is the process? People's action, army, and then plebiscite. Yes? Okay. Now comes Hyderabad. Hyderabad is a more unfortunate story. Hyderabad was one of the biggest princely states. The ruler, Mir Osman Ali, was a very bad ruler, very, very bad ruler, one of the biggest princely states. Very prosperous, had a lot of money. And he used to rule through a political party which used to elect him, which is called the Majlis-e-Ittihad Muslimin, MIM. Unjust, tyrannical, and he was a little bit smarter. Rather than giving straightforward indication to India, he was in no interest of becoming part of India. He was either inclined to be an independent state or become part of Pakistan. So what he will do is that in November of 1947, he will sign what is called as a standstill agreement. Standstill agreement. And the idea was that he said that, Patel, I want time to think. Give me some time to think. And the idea of thinking was that he never wanted to be part of India, but rather become part of Pakistan or remain independent. And the story of Hyderabad is also the same, that as soon as the people get to know that the Nizam is not ready to become part of India, there was a people's movement. The peasants, the people, the workers, the women, everybody came on the streets. the Communist Party of Hyderabad, the Congress, the Hyderabad Congress, everybody started to protest as in Junagadh. But unlike in Junagadh, where Shahnawaz Bhutto or Bahabat Khan were not ready to use force, here the communists, the Hyderabad Congress, and the people and the peasants will be slaughtered, killed, raped by the Nizam's own paramilitary force called the Razakars. So the Nizam was not ready to accept the force and the will of the people. And the Nizam wanted to show to the people that he will not give to their will. And herein he will do multiple atrocities against the people who wanted to be part of India. Now you tell me that if I was Patel, you were Patel, and with multiple people getting killed, communal type of violence happening, women getting raped, people getting killed over the demand of India, would you sit there and honor the standstill agreement? Would you sit there and honor the standstill agreement? Can we write that people movement in Junagadh? Yes, they are documented movements to be part of India only. And as you said, no, Patel also said enough of this drama. I can't let Indians who want to be part of India be killed by a tyrannical ruler who is killing people because he's not ready to accept their democratic will. And in this context, the Indian army is going to enter Hyderabad under Operation Vijay, Operation Polo. The operation was called Operation Polo. And under Operation Polo, the Indian army will enter Hyderabad. It will now start to fight with the Razakars. And the Nizam will surrender and get arrested. And he will be made to sign the instrument of accession in the jail where he deserved to be. So you can see Junagadh and Hyderabad, both same pattern. People, movement, but in Junagadh it got accepted. In Hyderabad there was a reaction from the ruler. With reaction from the ruler, people were now getting killed because of the ruler not accepting their will, and the Indian army had to enter. Now again you tell me, is the criticism that Indian army was out of line here correct or incorrect? Is it correct or incorrect? That the Indian army again forcefully took Hyderabad. Is it a correct explanation? That the Indian army took it through force? And the answer to this question is incorrect. Yes, Indian army had to enter, but the context is never talked about. Hyderabad was not taken by force, it was taken by the fact that Nizam was doing multiple atrocities, was killing people, and very simply, with such type of brutality and targeted non-Muslim violence, it was very clear that India was not going to hang around. So it is rather to protect the people in retaliation rather than using it force. So when next time Al Jazeera says to you that Junagadh and Hyderabad are taken by force, ask them the context in which it was taken. Both places, people were fighting to be part of India. And one place it was Shahnawaz Bhutto who actually, in a way, invited. Second was Mir Osman Ali deserved it. Because using the Razakar on his own people, the people of Hyderabad did not deserve Mir Osman Ali. And we can't let Indians die because they want to be part of India itself. Clear? Can we talk about Jammu and Kashmir now? Can we talk about Jammu and Kashmir? Okay. Now, Jammu and Kashmir, I have the new, what we call as judgment also here. Jammu and Kashmir is a issue where basically Pakistan lost it. Jammu and Kashmir was a very big princely state in the north of India, ruled by a person called Hari Singh. Hari Singh was a Hindu ruler and he had 75% Muslim population under him. 75% Muslim population under him. But the ironical part was that the Muslim population rulers were very happy and were content with the rule of Hari Singh, who was very tolerant that way. Now, Hari Singh did not want to be part of Pakistan or did not want to be part of India. He wanted to remain independent. And when he told this to Patel, Patel honored the fact that Hari Singh is saying that he wants to be part of He wants to be independent. Here, Patel was and Nehru both were very clear in saying that, okay, Jammu and Kashmir, you are taking a standstill agreement. Your agreement is that you want to remain independent. Sure. Now, Pakistan did not like this fact, because Pakistan, all of the rivers which go into Pakistan, and its most important river system, which is Indus, originates in Jammu and Kashmir. And because it originates in Jammu and Kashmir, they wanted to short circuit. After Junagadh was gone, after Hyderabad was gone, Pakistan wanted to short circuit and take Jammu and Kashmir in its control. And therefore, while India was not ready to use force, which is never used in the first hand itself, Jammu and Kashmir was now under attack. From on 15th August 1947, as soon as India and Pakistan got independence, Pakistan now started to infiltrate into Jammu and Kashmir. And there was the Pakistan army which entered into the valley. First, what they tried was that they tried to entice the population that go and fight with Hari Singh. However, the people said that we are happy with Hari Singh, we don't want to fight against him, we will not rise against him. So when that happened, now the Pakistani army attacked Srinagar, and Hari Singh will now be under siege from the Pakistani army, and Hari Singh was not in a position to hold the Pakistani army for long. So on 25th and 26th October 1947, there's a call which Patel gets, and that call is from Hari Singh. Hari Singh says that Pakistan has now attacked me, Jammu and Kashmir is under siege, I need the support of the Indian army. Please help me, because I will not be able to hold off Pakistan. And if we are not going to be hold off to Pakistan, Pakistan will occupy whole of Jammu and Kashmir. Patel says to Hari Singh that I can't help you, because if I send my army, then I will also be considered as an international aggressor in front of everybody, because Pakistan has entered first, but there's no proof of that. So everybody is going to say that India also entered through force. So Patel said that you sign the instrument of accession, you become part of India. If you are integral part of India, I will within one day make sure that Srinagar is out of danger. Hari Singh cuts the call and then calls Mountbatten and says that I want support. Pakistan has under siege and India is not helping, because Patel is saying that you are not under international law, it is not part of India. Mountbatten said, yes, Patel is saying correct. India can't send its army because you're not part of India. It is in this context that on 27th October 1947, the instrument of accession, 26-27, the instrument of accession will be signed between Hari Singh with no force from India, with no pressure from India. A later accusation that he was under pressure, no. Hari Singh in his hosho havas, in his free will sign the instrument of accession of India with India, and it will become a part of India on 26th October 1947. And on 28th to 27th, 100 planes will then send the Indian army into Jammu and Kashmir. And Jammu and Kashmir, now the Indian army will be liberating and will be basically fighting for its own nation against the Pakistani army. However, there was a major issue, because by the time we come to this period of 26th October, when Maharaja will sign after Hari Singh was under siege from the Pakistani troops itself, who had entered as Pathani tribesmen, it was very, very clear that it was a very dangerous environment to fight. So while India will basically start to push the Pakistani army back, but the temperatures and the terrain was such that though we will be able to push off the Pakistani army out of Pulwama and this whole sector, this whole area, which is called Gilgit and Baltistan, we were not able to basically push off. We were not able to push off because the Indian Air Force could not do anything, as it is the British had given us the worst of worst equipments. The Indian Army was not ready. Within 4 months of our existence, we were fighting the first Indo-Pak war also. And now India was not in a position to push the Pakistanis out of Gilgit-Baltistan, and they were not in a position to move forward. And we were not in a position to basically fight for long because of the whole October to February to March period, which is the winters in Kashmir. Now, something Patel will do, something Nehru will do, which he always regretted and also agreed. He believed in the UN, forgetting that the UN was the mouthpiece of the US and the Britishers, and the Americans were pro-Pakistani because Pakistan had not taken NAM but become part of the US bloc itself. India will take this issue to the UN, and there will be a ceasefire. And through this ceasefire, the first line will emerge, which till today exists, which is called the LOC, the line of control, which basically is the international ceasefire line between India and Pakistan, or between India and the Pakistan occupied Kashmir sector. Here, there will be dirty games which will be played by Britain and America. And after 2 years of doing this drama, in 1951, a resolution will come from the UN for POK, which is Pakistan occupied Kashmir, which is Gilgit-Baltistan. And the resolution is very simple. You read the resolution because India is criticized for the resolution also quite a lot. The resolution very simply said, after we took this issue in on 1st January 1948, the ceasefire, the resolution says that there will be a referendum in the POK sector under UN supervision after Pakistan has withdrawn its troops. The resolution remains ineffective because Pakistan never withdrew its troops from, not even, we'll not call it Azad Kashmir, we'll rather call it Pakistan occupied Kashmir. India has been criticized that the referendum was not taken because Indians fear the mandate of the people. But you tell me, without the first point of the resolution is what? Pakistan should withdraw the army. With no Pakistani withdrawal, should we go for referendum? Should we go for referendum? Should we? And the answer is no. If Pakistan will not keep its side of the deal, why should India be doing a referendum? And more than that, it is very clear that Jammu and Kashmir has been, will be, and was part of India since 26th October 1947. There's no doubt about it. So the people who argue that India fears the mandate of the people, no. We know that POK, and 3 times they will enter through POK to entice rebellion against India. Every time the people of Kashmir will say, no, we don't want to go against India. Until today, if there's a referendum in Pakistan, in POK, they will vote for India only. But the fact is, still Pakistan sponsors terrorism, sponsors militants, and sponsors hate. We cannot go for a referendum. So again, Al Jazeera would argue that India is not ready to take a referendum because we fear the mandate of the people. No. We as Indians don't fear the mandate of people because we are a democracy. Pakistan should fear it. And very clearly, Pakistan occupied Kashmir is an illegal occupation. India has been, Jammu and Kashmir has been, will be, and will remain a part of India, an integral part, since Hari Singh gave it to us or became a part of India itself. Are we clear about this point? Are we clear? Yes. Now comes the 370 issue. Article 370 was introduced in haste as a temporary arrangement, and this has now been spelled out by the Supreme Court also. The Supreme Court has now upheld the UT of Jammu and Kashmir and Ladakh. It has upheld the removal of sections under 370, saying that 370 was transitionary and was a temporary arrangement. And it has also directed that by September 2024, elections should be held and Jammu and Kashmir should be given statehood back, and the UT with registration tax should be removed. In this verdict, which you would have seen it on YouTube also, Sarbat sir took a very interesting, important session on YouTube about it. I will just reiterate some of the basic facts which were said in this judgment. The first was that Jammu and Kashmir UT status is temporary, but the UT status of Ladakh is under Article 3 totally allowed. And the question whether parliament can convert a state into union territory is an open question. It is under the right of the center itself. Jammu and Kashmir holds no sovereignty after accession to India, which was on 26th October 1947. And the president rule and the president's action to remove the article itself is valid, and there is no malified ultra vires in that. And Sanjay Kaul, coming from the Jammu and Kashmir sector itself, said that the valley carries a historical burden of the fact that what is the status of Jammu and Kashmir. Armies are meant to fight battle, not to control states, which is basically what Pakistan is doing. And unfortunately, the men, women, and children have paid a very heavy price because of this. Very simply, Article 370 being removed was valid. Jammu and Kashmir will be restored as a state by 2024, September. Elections will be held. And the abrogation of Article 370 is totally in the right of India. Because once the instrument of accession is signed on 26th October, Hari Singh did not do it under pressure. He was under pressure from Pakistan, not India. And therefore, it was a willful decision which Jammu and Kashmir took. Pakistan holds that sector illegally till today. Still now it does that, and that is against the international law. And the LOC in that sense is again a temporary arrangement till Pakistan does not withdraw its troop and India holds a referendum. If we are clear about all of this, we'll take a break here for the lunch break. We'll come back at 2 o'clock, discuss Goa and Pondicherry, and then go into language, official language, linguistic reorganization. Yes? I'll try to do that. Don't worry, Priya. Yes? Okay. So since our ties are better with US, can't ask Pakistan to withdraw. No, see, now is a very different issue. Now, POK is a do and die issue for Pakistan. Botwari plays more successful role in integration of again, you are trying to put Patel and Nehru against each other. That is not the case. That is not the case. See, POK today is a much bigger issue. Why don't the army push after winter? Because by that time, ceasefire was done. POK today is a much bigger issue. If India wants, it can take action. But both Pakistan and India are nuclear powers. And Pakistan is waiting for something like that to happen. POK at that point of time was an international issue, a dispute. Now it is the lifeline of Pakistani politics. Pakistan cannot survive without the Kashmir issue. So the point of the matter is, today it is a much more complicated issue than what we think of it previously. Clear? Done? Special article was needed, Ganesh, because it was done in very quick succession. Every other part was added to the constitution properly. But Jammu and Kashmir, as soon as it became part of India, the first Indo-Pak war happened. So the Indo-Pak war 1947 forced us to have a transitionary article about it in that sense. And you can always watch the video which Sarmat sir has taken, very beautiful video, which was taken on YouTube. Gulam has pushed the link of it. You should watch it. He's more capable and he's the right person to tell you about this more. And if you understand it, then you will understand the whole issue automatically. Right? Can we break for lunch now? The first module, only small part, 10 minutes is left. We'll cover that once we're back. Okay. So you join from part B. I will see you after lunch. Have a good lunch. See you.